Well, in Arkansas, pretty soon, if you want that unemployment benefit, better prepare yourself for a little test, a drug test. It'll be random, but if a bill just passed to the Arkansas Senate gains traction, it could soon be law. Supporters say it cracks down on those taking advantage of the system. Critics argue it takes advantage of the Constitution, and worse, it sets a dangerous precedent. With me now, Julie Roginski, Rob Basso, and Sherry Jacobus. Julie, what do you make of this?
Not into it. Got to be honest with you. Why are these people being treated like criminals just because they're unemployed? It's not, you know, I don't have to be tested for drugs. You don't have to be tested for drugs when you come to work. If somebody's unfortunate enough to lose their job, all of a sudden they have to be tested for...
It's random, doesn't matter.
Random, it doesn't, you know, I don't like it. I think it's an infringement on people's privacy, and I think there's no reason to believe just because you're unemployed that you're a drug addict. So why are they being tested? I don't like it.
Sherry?
Well, the fact of the matter is, in that state, 80% of the state employees are subjected to random drug testing. I mean, they all have to do this. So I don't see what the problem is. And in this abysmal economy, and we got a bad jobs report last week, Neil, as you know, there's a lot of people, the news is really bad, and anything we can do to help people stay on the straight and narrow and staying off drugs and alcohol for that matter, even though we can't test for that. But I think that we should do it. It makes good sense. It's not expensive to do. Again, if you're employed, you often have to do that. So I don't see what the problem is.
Rob?
If employers are responsible for paying into these unemployment benefits and the state kicks in their share, why in the world would the state and individual employers pay for people that are knowingly taking drugs? I have zero problem with this state and many other states who have already enacted this law, like Mississippi and Florida and some other states in the nation, that this has been going on for a long time. Now, I understand that now they're saying it's after you receive the benefits, you're all of a sudden going to get tested. But to me, it makes no difference. I'm a small business owner. I don't want my money to be paid in for somebody's drug habit. Whether they're unemployed or not, it makes no difference.
But who's paying for the drug test? That's what I want to know. I mean, how much is that costing, too?
They're saying that the state of Arkansas said it's going to cost them only $30,000 a year to administer this program. $30,000 is not a lot of money.
Well, that's the point that I had made, that it's cheap. I also think it's compassionate because, again, in this economy, and the news is very bad, and there's a lot of debate about whether or not unemployment causes people to abuse drugs or if drug abuse causes people to become unemployed. But either way, this works. It's compassionate.
Wait, I'm
it's a
sorry,
good idea.
but I have family members who lost their job. Somebody got laid off after working for 24 years and received unemployment benefits as a result. I can guarantee you that 64-year-old woman is not token up because she's unemployed. She just happens to not have a job.
But you can say that for a government employee too.
But do you think as a taxpayer,
you can say that about a government employee? You can say that about a government employee who's also subjected to the random drug test.
I want to ask Julie this: do you think, as a taxpayer, your dollars should be going to someone who's on drugs getting benefits?
Do I think, as a taxpayer, my money should be going towards somebody who's an alcoholic? Do I think,
So you don't distinguish?
I don't distinguish.
Whether they're unemployed, regardless of what they're taking or tooting, it's fine.
Here's my thing. If you're a drug addict and you commit a crime related to that drug habit, then go be prosecuted. But until that happens, if I were to, God forbid, if I lost my job and I had to be unemployed, or any of us, why would the assumption be that I'm a drug addict? Why is the assumption that I'm...
What if you are? What if a random test discovers that, in fact, you are?
Well, that I am, then Neil.
And I say I'm not going to give you any more federal benefits.
Anybody who works at any job then, right?
The bigger issue is, where is this...
Why aren't we all being tested? Why about people on Social Security? Why aren't they being tested? Why about people on Medicare? They're getting federal benefits. Why aren't they being tested?
Where is this in the Constitution that you have a right to unemployment benefits?
Do you pay into it?
Well, is it in the Constitution that you have the right to be tested to get those benefits?
Well, that's a good question. And I would say that it's not written in there in that format one way or another. But the point is, if it's government...
Are you sure our forefathers didn't say...
But what if it's a state government employee, though? Okay. Why would this be any different? State government employees are subjected to the same thing, so
and I don't like that either.
The same... Well, I'm sure they don't like it, but I think it might be necessary, and I think it's good policy. It doesn't cost that much.
Why is it necessary? What is this presumption of criminality? What is this presumption of infringing on people's rights?
That's not a fair thing to say that they're presuming they're guilty.
Or they proved everything to you, that every test they did proved that they were high as a kite.
Well, but you're assuming that...
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, what if that were the case?
If every single person on unemployment was high as a kite?
No, everyone who was given this random test, they had a disproportionate number of people who did have, drugs in their system.
Is it precluding them from finding a job? What kind of drugs are we talking about? I mean, that's,
Listen, but that's parsing. Drugs are illegal in this country, and it's really
a lot of things are illegal.
simple.
Why are we testing people? What
You're afraid where it leads, right?
I'm afraid of a precedent that you're setting where you have an assumption of criminality from people who are absolutely not doing anything wrong. Why are you assuming that these people are going to be high?
But giving somebody
They're not,
a test is not a presumption that they're guilty.
That's not a fair argument to make. They're not making this assumption. They're not making this assumption about state employees, but they do know that there's a certain percentage who might, and they're trying to clear that up. It's for our safety in many cases, and those jobs are coveted jobs, and I don't think it's at all unreasonable for this random testing. And I don't think that there's any difference between the unemployed and those who are employed by the state, and lots of companies do it too. So
do you
can't
give
just
money
say
to
that you're
bums on the
presuming
street?
unemployed people.
Do I give money to bums on the street if they're appealing enough on the subway? I do.
Okay, so if you know they're just going to get another bottle of Jack Daniels, seriously, then you say, are you okay with that?
No.
But how do you know where it's going?
No. Because I actually only do it legitimately if I see them with kids, which is horrible, and I know I'm feeding a really bad habit. But the bottom line is, I have sympathy.
To you?
Occasionally, but many times I've been scammed at that old trick at the airport, having the sobbing kid next to you. So the reality is, this is not a.
I will give them the money, but they got to watch Fox News.
I give them food if I have any. That's usually.
I've actually gone and bought food. I've gone and bought food.
You never give your food away.
It's my food. All right, guys, I want to thank you all. We're just trying to put this in perspective. But if you're looking to get anything from the government, that's I think the way we're going to go. Just so you know, you better be ready.
I'm always ready.